If you enjoy this video, consider supporting us on Patreon for just $5 a month. Click on the card in the upper right-hand corner for more information. That's a car. Hello everyone, this is Julian of Julian Gray Media. Today we are going inside the project, inside of my latest release, Touch, on 03 Recordings. You may realize that this is not my normal configuration. That's because I just moved, and if you want to check out the moving vlog process, you can click on the link in the upper right hand corner right now and go check out the vlog on how I got to this position in this building. Before we get started, I wanted to let you guys know that I did a similar video to this on Multiplier's channel for my song Autonomous from Autonomous EP. That was a few months back, but we just got the video up today, actually, Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. So go and check that out on his channel if you're interested in the inside the project or behind the DAW of Autonomous. So go check that out in the upper right hand corner as well. Okay, without any further ado, we're gonna hop in the studio and get started. Awesome guys, so this is Touch featuring Pipa Moran. The story behind this one, I was browsing YouTube, and you know how you go down a YouTube rabbit hole of several different videos, and essentially one of the videos that I found, I don't remember the exact video, had a really good vocalist on the background song, and that just happened to be Pipa. So I looked in the description, and sure enough, it led me to her SoundCloud. I reached out over SoundCloud, didn't get a response, so I went to Twitter and Facebook, and eventually I got a response, and this song is the result of that. So we got into conversation, I had this instrumental laying around, and the rest is history. We then secured 03 as the label, and then we got our good friend Deza to do a remix. Currently, at the time of this video, we're at 47 on Beatport Progressive charts. That could go up or down. We went up 20 spots since yesterday. We've had awesome radio support from Cosmic Gate, Chicane, Sander Van Dorn, and a ton of other awesome radios, and this song has done a lot for me as far as getting new people on board and listening. So thank you for listening. We're going to hop in and show you exactly what's going on under the hood of this song and get started. So to start things off, I'm going to go ahead and play the song through, at least the bulk sections of it, and then we'll go dive in and start to dissect what everything is that's going on throughout the song. Okay, so let's get this thing going. Okay, that is essentially what you needed to hear out of this. The second verse and drop are relatively the same thing. We have a few minor vocal changes and stuff like that in the final chorus, and then we have a nice outro. I'm going to go ahead and skip to the outro, though, so you can hear that. I don't want to play the entire song. Seems kind of redundant. You can just do that on iTunes or whatever. So, here we go. Okay, so that is the bulk of Touch featuring Pipa Moran. We can start things off with the main chord progression, which is the real meat and potatoes of the song, if you will. That's this pad here, and it acts as the bass and the pad at the same time throughout the song. It's doing a root note and a chord on top of it. I believe it's a fifth. Let's give this thing a play, and we're going to solo the pad so you can hear that. And the actual sound used for this, you can pause the video and take a look at my chain here. We have a side chain and some filter action going. Not much EQ, but a little bit off the top. But the actual sound is just a raw saw wave with no unison, actually. This is a very mono saw wave with a filter on it. And we have a macro kind of opening it up in certain spots. It's very Some Chords by Deadmau5, if you're familiar with that song. So we have a root note here. If we silence the top, you'll find that this sounds very boring with only the one note. Let's go ahead and do that. But you see the bottom note is laying down the foundation for the rest of the song. And then we have that chord up top that's really creating the interest as a harmony. It's almost like we're writing in a resonant note. Okay, so that's the main element of the song. It doesn't change too much throughout the entire song. We have a few minor chordal changes like here. In the pre-chorus section, we go to a different chord instead of going to where we had it. If you notice in this section here, we go down. But here we go up. We kind of suspend it up top. We hold that instead of going back down like we did in the rest of the song. And that's what creates this really nice, like, suspended, tension-driven section that builds into our drop. Okay, sorry, I just had a technical error. I had to relaunch Ableton and stuff, so we'll just jump right back into it. Those are the chords that you just heard. The next thing we have is the other melodic elements, and we'll dive into that right here. So we have the bell element, which is what you hear throughout the song. I'll play that with the chords. We have this ascending and descending bells. They go, and it's creating this really, really cool, like, mysterious sound. We're using the collision instrument in Ableton with some delay, some reverb. We have a auto filter that's automated in certain sections, as you can see, to give it some more mystique. And then we have an EQ and a compressor. We have a sidechain on there as well, just like everything else in the song. And we use this in the more mysterious sections, like this breakdown here.
Something in between us keeps me falling deeper.
figure we'll knock out all of the melodic elements first. We have a pedal steel right here, or at least like an imitation one. We have one single note being played. This is on Serum. It's a basic mini wavetable with some unison, 7 to be exact, a little bit of detune, and we have the cutoff filter cutting the top off. If we open this all the way, that's what we have, but we're kind of dialing it in. Have some erosion to give it some grit, a lot of reverb, an EQ to cut the bottom and the top, Haas effect to separate it in the stereo image. I think I did a video on that a while ago. If not, I'll make a video soon explaining how this works. Essentially, you separate your right and left ear by a few milliseconds to make a very extra wide sound work. And I did that here. As you can see, it's 100%. Left ear here is 1 millisecond, and then the right ear here is 15 milliseconds later. We have a compressor doing a sidechain again, and we have an auto filter. And these three elements together sound like this. Actually, I don't think those are ever together. Maybe right here. And this pedal steel sound is really filling out the background of the mix, and that's really adding a lot to the atmospheric feeling. We have this arpeggio here. Not too difficult. We have a sine wave. We have a sine wave and an inverted sine wave up an octave. I don't know why I did that, but it works. We have a downsample creating a very like sharp feeling to that, and an envelope doing a automation on our cutoff filter here. If we got rid of that distortion, you'd see it's very soft. The distortion is what's adding that little crunch to the top end. That's sounding good. We have an EQ, a ping pong delay, and a sidechain on that. Okay, next on our thing, let's go ahead and play these together now, so you can hear them all right here. And with the pedal steel here. And in this part, I actually open up the Serum filter. Cool. The next element is the actual lead itself, and that's the lead we use in the drop sections. The and I'll probably do a video dedicated to melody writing in the future, but this is just a good opportunity to point out something that I think makes a really good melody, and one that's very catchy. The end of your melody should always be symmetrical to the previous bar. And what I mean by that is, as you can see here, if we actually look at these note lengths, let's go ahead and turn this to a quarter note. This is a half note followed by a dotted quarter note followed by a eighth note, like so, as you can see here. And this exact same chord structure, or progression structure, I guess, is repeated right here. As you can see, we have the same notes and note lengths here. And because we're kind of harkening back to that rhythm that we saw in the previous bar, we create a sense of musical symmetry. We even have this note here and this note here to be the same length, and that's doing something cool. It's again creating that symmetry and making the loop sound more repetitive but more interesting at the same time, because if you have a lot of randomized note placements and note lengths, you get a lot of manic and it's harder to remember. We have the same thing here. This I guess is a whole note, if I'm correct. Maybe a 2-bar long whole note, like a whole note with a tie. And then we have a very small difference here. This eighth note, I guess, cadence into this C here. And as you can see, that same pattern is here. So you see, when you do this, it makes your melodies easy to remember because it effectively halves the amount of rhythms that they have to remember, your listeners. So this rhythm is exactly the same, and even though these notes aren't the same, it has the same rhythm and syncopation, so it's easier to remember. It's like double the times you listen to it, and when you're trying to memorize something, you know how you listen to it several times. Same idea here. So there's our lead. The actual instrument itself, we can take a look at this in Serum. Again, it's a saw wave with a cutoff filter modulation here. And we have an envelope on there as well. That's what's creating those down, down, down. And then we have a LFO doing a little bit of level automation. It's effectively a tremolo effect. And then we have a delay on here. We have a compressor, another delay, a reverb. Let's go ahead and look at that really quick. And we have a side chain to the kick and a high pass. And as you can see, it sounds like that. I also have this super saw element, which is the same chords as the pad. 2 saw wave wavetables with 7 unison each with a decent amount of detune. And that's what creates this bigger pad in the drops. Believe it or not, that's effectively all of the melodic elements of the song, at least the super like melody that you can recognize elements. We have a few things like this, which is like an atmospheric noise. And I think I went into Serum and messed with some parameters until I came up with something cool. I often do that. Then I froze it. Here, we also have a atmospheric vocal from a Leviathan pack. Transposed down 3 semitones with some reverb on it, like so. And this one I really wanted to push into the background, so we used a generous amount of reverb. And then we have, let's see, we have our vocals. I'm not going to dive too deep into that just yet. In this end section, we have a piano. We can take a look at that quickly. I think I actually played this in. And this is the giant by Contact, or Complete, or Native Instruments rather. Very, very good sounding piano, and I have the tone set to soft. Here we are. Cool, and then that is the bulk of the musical elements. So there's actually not a lot of tracks in this song. We actually have less than 40. Exactly 40 if we count the sends that we used. So it means that you don't really need that many channels to make an effective mix. So let's go ahead and take a look at our percussion. There's not much going on in this front either. Let's take a look at our kick drum. Nothing too special. In our little break sections where we introduce that lead, we have a little bit more interest in form of this little kick run. Do, 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 do. I also have this thing called the ghost kick, which is effectively just an accent kick for the kick. As you can see, it adds just a little bit. Cool, and then we of course have our clap, as you can hear here. So if we look at this, we actually have two claps. We have this Organic Elements clap. Let's go ahead and solo that. With a little bit of delay on it. It's kind of cool and bouncy. And then we have our regular clap. Both of these are super short samples with high pass. And we're actually sidechaining this one to the kick to make it a little bit shorter. As you can see, we're waiting a long time, and then we're cutting a very large, generous amount from the clap. Let's go ahead and take a look at our hi-hat. And as you can see, there's a little bit of swing on this, and this is done via the simple delay. We have a 1 millisecond and 8 millisecond time difference between our two ears. And then we have some automation as far as the velocity goes on these notes. And it's creating that nice little shuffled effect on our hi-hat. Let's go ahead and add in our open hi-hat. This is nothing special. Just a Leviathan sample with a high pass, and then we have our shaker, which is from a Matt Lang pack. And that's very subtle. It's kind of doing its own thing in the background. It's adding a lot to the rhythm of the song. We have this noise thing, which is an accent percussion element. As you can see, it's that nice little echo effect. And I have some auto pan and ping pong delay doing its thing there with a nice band pass in the 1K region, essentially, to set it into the mix. I have this nice kick drum side chain there, and then we have our auto filter. So let's take a closer look at anything else we missed as far as percussion goes. I don't think there's very much left. Let's try the click sound. This is a nice little sample mixed with some reverb and some delay. And a little bit of auto pan as well. So that's effectively all of the percussion used in the song. The next thing we can look at are the vocals. Let's go ahead and solo those and take a look. So let me go ahead and play this part here. As you can see, there's multiple takes and different versions of tunings that I did to these vocals. I took the original vocal and tuned it once, and then I decided there were some things I wanted to fix, so I brought it in and tuned it again, and then there's some things on that version that I didn't like as much, so as you can see, there's several different versions of the tuning that made it into the final song. So the main vocal processing on this guy is our compressor, and OTT doing a very light compression. As you can see, the depth is at 27%. We have a ping pong delay, which is doing a very minimal amount, and we have a Valhalla Room doing a 17% with a decently long decay time, and leaving nothing to the imagination with this high cut, like that. So we have a high pass EQ, and then we have our auto filter here.
There's something in between us.
Makes it even clear.
As you can see, if you listen closely in the original song, there's also some backing harmonies that I did in the song, and that's this guy right here.
Something in between us makes it even clearer. Stay above the surface.
And if you're a fan of the Deza remix, he actually brought that out a little bit more. Okay, here's our harmony. There's a few parts of the song that have these really cool harmony or harmonic elements. So if we play that in, let's go ahead and solo that.
Yeah.
Adds a very, very nice, like, supporting vocal effect. So that is effectively the vocals. At the very end of the song, we have a vocoder effect right here. As you can see, if we were to solo our main vocal, is a duplicate of our main vocal combined with a little bit of vocoding, and it's being carried by this carrier signal here. I'll probably do a full video on vocoding in the future, but this is effectively the chain that I used. So we have an external carry from this carrier signal, and we have this EQ curve here. As you can see, we're bearing the top in a little bit to push us back into the mix. We have a ping pong delay, and then we have a reverb here as well. So that is our vocals. And really the only thing left of this song to cover is the minor background elements. Let's see what this is. Interesting little boop that fills out the breakdown sections. We have this noise layer here, as you can see. Nice little auto filter sweeping noise layer with some Valhalla on it. Let's see what Oh Boy is. I think this is the counter melody. Yeah, I have this very nice counter melody in the breakdown sections. And we can go ahead and look at that patch quickly. Again, not much to it. It's just an airy bell. And this is one of the Ableton stock instruments that I messed with. We used a Collision, I believe it is, and we just messed around with the parameters. Again, you can pause and take a look at any of the presets throughout this video. We also have a Valhalla Room reverb on there, and we have some delay as per usual. So there we are. So we have some smaller elements down here for atmospheric effect. I have this guitar riff sound, which was a sample that I stretched out. I added some auto pan that's being automated. The rate is being automated, I should say. Has some reverb on it, has some delay on it, has a guitar rig on it, and you can take a look at this, these settings here. And then we have it sidechained to the kick. Again, it's a background element, so it's not super important, but it adds a lot to the character of the song. Give it a listen in the context of the mix. Cool, and then we have this second version of that, which is tuned to a different note. So we have up 5 semitones. And as you can see, there's really not very many more elements to the song, and this kind of goes back to my idea of keeping things minimal and making the things you use count instead of trying to add in a ton of new elements. As you can see, there's not very many tracks to this song, but the overall arrangement works out really well, and the mix sounds great together. I think the last thing we got to cover is this rain ambient sound in the original mix. It's not in the extended version. It's not really necessary. But I added in some underwater sounds here to kind of signify the drowning in your love bit. So here we go. So we have some rain, which gets a nice little filter sweep, which kind of pushes it into the background. We have this underwater ambience effect right here. And then we have a secondary underwater effect, which is almost like a bubble effect. Awesome, guys. So that is Touch. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike, and let me know why in the comment section below. Make sure to subscribe. I make new videos every week. And if you enjoy the song, let me know in the comments, and go stream it on Beatport and Spotify and iTunes and stuff. Actually, buy it on Beatport, because we're at number 47, and I'm trying to chart in the top 10. That would be a milestone. Anyways, thank you for watching, and until next time, I am Julian of Julian Gray Media, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.